Hello, my name is Dr. Bryan and I'm here to give you some healthy hints for harmony. Today's topic is, are grains good for you? And basically the answer is no. When it comes down to it, there's no real good reason to eat grains. When we talk about grains, the biggest one that we talk about is obviously wheat, and that ends up being the biggest offender. But grains also are going to include corn, rice, rye, barley, along with a few other grains that are out there. Basically what grains do is they give us sugar in a very simple form. There's not usually complex carbohydrates really when it comes to grains. And the sugar ends up being a really cheap fuel that you can use really easily. But when it comes down to it, grains don't really provide lots of good fiber, and they also don't provide lots of good vitamins and minerals. Vegetables and fruits are way better ways to actually get those vitamins and the minerals and even better fiber than grains are. The other thing that people a lot of times will think is that grains form that foundation that we have at that food pyramid. And even though there's a new version of the food pyramid that's called My Plate, it doesn't really work very well the way that it is. Again, because grains are a major portion of that. You have lots of servings of grains that they want you to have. So the question is why? Why is it actually a bad idea for us to have grains in our diet? In general, grains are a relatively new food, and they're typically hard in the digestive system. We have to actually mill most of the grains in order for us to actually take it in and actually get any nutritional value from it. For over 150,000 years, humans were also hunter-gatherers, where we would go out and we would have to scavenge and find our food on a daily basis. And the typical diet that we had were lean animal meats. We had nuts, leafy greens, and regional vegetables. We would also get tubers or roots that we would get food from, and fruits, berries, those kind of things we would also do as well. But around 10,000 years ago was when we started with the agricultural revolution. And that's obviously very important, but one of the problems that we had with that is that that was back when calories were scarce, and calories aren't scarce anymore. Grains were easy to grow, but now we don't need them in order to actually get our nutrition, as I talked about before. Now we talk about with gluten intolerance and gluten sensitivity, researchers think that about 1/3 of the population is actually sensitive to gluten, and that includes wheat, barley, and rye. But most people don't actually know that they have a sensitivity to it. It's only when you take it out of your diet that you realize that some of your symptoms and some of your problems were actually coming from the gluten. Another thing that grains do is they increase chronic inflammation. And when it comes down to it, if you're sick or if you're hurt, one of the things that I have my patients do is I have them take wheat out of their diet. Just take it right out, and that'll actually help you to recover quicker. Another thing that you do, another thing that's involved in that is the chronic inflammation just in general. You can take a look at my other show that I did on this, which is called Nutrition and Inflammation. So what does all this mean? Basically, the big picture is that you want to limit the amount of grains that you're taking in overall.